Good day to one and all. Welcome back to the course on human resource management. Today we're going to talk about a very important topic, interview skills. I'm Dr. Praveen Kumar, the Dean of School of Commerce and Management, Bharat Institute of Higher Education and Research, Chennai, India. Interview skills is a very important soft skill, a major concern with us. I'm going to start this with an anecdote. During the time of war, there was a ship which was packed with people. And during dinner, the captain of the ship assembled everybody and said, "Look, we are traveling during war. This is not the general time of the year, and therefore follow the rules." To keep it simple, I'm going to give you just two rules. Rule 1, we're going to travel in pitch darkness. There's not going to be even the flick of the candle, because if light is visible, the enemy who comes through air for air raid will spot us and start to bomb us, and all of us will die. And therefore, we're going to travel in pitch darkness. Rule 2, keep all the doors and windows closed. Disperse. And all of them slowly retired to their rooms. There were these group of nurses who were also traveling in the same ship. They were given a cabin. And these 11 nurses were just given one cabin. Hardly space enough to stretch themselves and catch some sleep. As per the captain's orders, they switched off all the lights and had kept all the doors and windows closed. It was pitch dark for them. And after a while, maybe some 30 minutes, one of the nurses said, "It is so hot here. We are sweating, it's so sultry. How do we sleep? Throughout the day, we had been working. And tomorrow, again, we're going to work. We're going to nurse the injured soldiers. Hell, a lot of work before us. And therefore, to recharge ourselves, we need to catch some sleep. But look how hot this room is. How do we get sleep?" All the other nurses also seem to acknowledge. They said, "Yes, we need air. So what do? Let's open one window, just one window." The others seemed to accept. They said, "Yes, let's open one window." So the nurse too proposed the idea, tiptoed. It was so dark. Carefully, she walked to the window and opened the window. Now everybody was excited. They said, "Look how fresh air has come in. Now we can sleep because the room is not hot anymore. The sea breeze has entered this room. And now we can sleep." They stopped sweating. They loved the sea breeze. The cabin was not sultry anymore. And so they fell asleep. They slept like babies. Morning when they got up, they were shell-shocked. They could not believe what they had been seeing. What they saw was, though the nurse in the dark room had opened the window of the ship, it was anyway sealed with glass on the other side. So you open the window one side, it was still sealed with glass on the other side. What the nurses presumed was, just because one window is now open, sea breeze had come in. They even felt the sea breeze on their faces, which is not true. They thought that the windows open, they thought sea breeze had come in, and they thought that the room is now cool, while it was the same hot, dingy cabin. It depends on what you think. If you think you can do it, you can. If you think you cannot do it, you cannot. So before we talk about interview skills, we need to understand a lot of depends on intrapersonal communication. What are the things that I tell to myself? What is the type of self-talk do I have? Am I saying negative things to myself? Or am I saying positive things to myself? Forget about what we tell others. Let's first of all be conscious about what I tell myself. If you say things that you don't believe, they won't happen. If you tell things to yourself and you firmly believe about it, it will happen. You'll have to believe that you will speak well in the interview and you will get that job. And for this, we need to practice. You cannot manipulate yourself. It doesn't work. Once you practice, once you attend a lot of mock interviews, you gain that confidence and courage. And then you will start to tell positive things to yourself. So that would be the first step. Look what this author who wrote The Alchemist, a bestseller, has to say. When you want something, all the universe conspires in helping you to achieve it. But do you want something at all? You should want that something with all your body, soul, and mind. When you want that something very badly, all the universe conspires in helping you achieve it. There's another anecdote I would want to share with you. There were a group of people who were traveling in a bus on a wintry, cold night in Europe. However, the passengers in the bus could not catch sleep because they were disturbed due to an ongoing fight between two passengers. Both the ladies were fighting. The first one said, "Conductor, open the window, otherwise in 10 minutes I'll die. It is suffocating. So open the window, otherwise in 10 minutes I'll die." The other lady who was sitting right beside her said, "Conductor, close the window, otherwise in 10 minutes I'll die because it's so cold." So the first one said, "Open the window." The second one said, "Close the window." The conductor of the bus never knew what to do. How to handle this? There's a solution for this. A person sitting right behind them stood up and said, "Conductor, close the window for 10 minutes. Let the first woman die. Open the window for another 10 minutes, let the second woman also die. Now, everybody in the bus was surprised at the answer. The conductor said, "Are you a consultant or a psychologist?" The man who gave the solution said, "I'm their husband." What I'm trying to tell you is there's a hormone called adrenaline. And this hormone pumps when we are in a crisis or in an extreme stress. And this adrenaline helps us to think about solutions that are creative to get out of that tight corner in which we are in. In an interview, the adrenaline will help you. It will help you be very creative, for which you need to be slightly nervous. Benjamin Disraeli, one of powerful orators on planet Earth, would say, every time before I make a speech, I'm slightly nervous. Now the media, while they wrote about Benjamin Disraeli, they said it was like listening to the lion roar. But Benjamin Disraeli would say, I'll be slightly nervous before every speech I make. Because when you're slightly nervous, it is good. Your adrenaline will help you. When adrenaline pumps, you become creative. So when you're nervous during an interview, tell yourself, it is good. I'm slightly nervous. It is natural for any person to be slightly nervous. It is good because adrenaline is going to help me. These are the things that you need to tell yourself. Look at what the famous Dr. Praveen has to say. In communication, actual words is only 7%. The way words are delivered, meaning the tone, accent, intonation, is 38%, and a whopping 55% is attributed to the facial expressions. We are ready to tell a lot of lies because you so badly want the job. So I, as an interviewee, am ready to tell any lies that I want. However, the body does not know how to tell a lie. When you're nervous, it shows. Your body language will tell it all. So when you're nervous, your shoulders will slouch, your chest will go in. Tongue goes and sticks to the upper palate of the mouth. And it becomes so difficult to open your mouth and speak. When words themselves do not come, forget about the facial expressions. For how long can you manage an artificial smile? Therefore, as I've been telling you, practice, practice, practice. Practice through a lot of mock interviews and group discussions so that the real one would be a cakewalk for you. So the first impression is very important. The first impression is not just about the way you're groomed and the clothes that you're wearing. It is also about your body language. To start with grooming, appearance is important. For the men, you need to be properly groomed. Your hair needs to be properly combed. A shirt which is a formal shirt, full sleeves, sleeve button on, preferably a light blue shirt or any shirt with pinstripes are considered very formal. Self-colored pants. The color of your belt should match the color of your shoes. So if you're wearing a black color belt, the shoes are also black. And if your belt is a brown in color, then the shoes also should be brown in color. Beard today has become very fashionable. In case you're spotting one, ensure that it is neatly trimmed. Look into the eyes of people and speak. Do not look at the roof or clean your fingernails or look at the table or stare at the floor. Only confident people look into the eyes of others. The handshake should be a firm and gripping one. This is called a dead handshake, dead fish, lifeless. When you're not confident, you offer your hands such a manner that your fist looks like a dead fish. What is your hands communicating? I'm not confident. I'm so nervous. Please don't hire me. This is what your hands are saying. When you introduce yourself, ensure that you pronounce your name clearly and slowly. And make small talk. All this comes when you have practiced enough. So as I told you, the picture tells very clearly of how the thumbs are interlocked, and it should be a firm and gripping one. Hold the handshake for 2 to 3 seconds, making a slight up and down pumping motion. The interviewer always takes initiative of shaking hands, and it is not vice versa. The unexamined life is not worth living. Socrates. Forget about interviews. Even for our betterment, this quote of Socrates conveys a lot of meaning. So how do I prepare myself when I attend an interview? There are 3 important keys to effectively prepare yourself to shine in the interview. First, know yourself, which means know your strengths and weaknesses. Oftentimes, we do not take time to reflect about what our strengths and weaknesses are, what our achievements and aspirations are. So first, get to spend quality time with yourself, the me time. In fact, if you're going to do it for every day, nothing like that. But at least during interview, before interview, try to understand your nature, your interest, your strengths and weaknesses. The dress should be appropriate and formal. As I've told you, for the men, it is formal, neatly tucked in shirts, well polished shoes. If you're wearing tie, knot it properly. Ensure that the collar button is buttoned, and ensure the length of the tie is appropriate, and the tie is also very formal. You cannot wear a tie with a Mickey Mouse smiley. That's not appropriate. Wear just one ring. Do not wear all the rings that you have, in case if you are wearing it. And ensure that your chain is not visible. the neck chains are not professional. For women, minimal jewelry, minimal makeup, minimal perfume. Ensure that you're formally dressed for the occasion. You're not going for a party, going for an interview. So appropriate dressing with not too many patterns in the dress. Before you go to the interview, you'll have to research the organization, understand the product offerings of the company. You can also know their culture using websites which review their work culture. So talking about the first one, know yourself. How well do you fit the job description that has been given? Always get to understand what is given in the job description. What are the skills, abilities, and qualities you have that can benefit the organization? What are you the best fit for the job and the organization? So there should be a match between the job description and the skills and abilities that you have with you. You'll have to bring that to the fore. As I was talking about the dressings, clean shaved or groomed mustache, preferably no beard, well pressed, light colored, long sleeved shirt with a simple and formal tie, dark, well polished formal shoes for men. For women, as I had already told, minimal makeup, informal Indian formal wear would be your salwars or a neatly pleated cotton sari, dark trousers paired with a light colored shirt. So for the men, if you're wearing a suit, preferably dark suit and dark socks. Women, as I had already told you, minimal jewelry, minimal makeup, and neatly pressed dress. What are you going to research the organization? What are the organization's main services, products, values, structure, culture? Are they in recent news? Who are the leaders? All this is available in their website. Makes it easier for you. All that you need to do is spend some time. Be able to articulate what you have learned, including your understanding of its mission and philosophy. Integrate what you know into the questions you ask. So, as I told, use the company's website, Glassdoor, and Google Alert to find such information. So, the first question is going to be oftentimes, tell me about yourself. Now, this question is asked so that you feel comfortable. The interviewer does not want to start with a very tricky question and you might or might not know the answer. They don't want to take the chance. So they want you to feel comfortable. So oftentimes the question is going to be, tell me yourself, so that the answer is not going to be, I do not know. So describe yourself professionally and not personally. Consider your answer a 60-second commercial called the elevator moment, talking about your professional accomplishments. State your skills and experiences and how they relate to that position. Do not tell them, give me the job, I'll prove these skills. What have you already accomplished? Talk about your past accomplishments, future promises. What do you do when the interview begins? Listen carefully to the questions. Oftentimes you speak so loud to yourself that you do not listen to the questions that are posed to you. And if in case it was not audible to you, it's okay to ask for clarification rather than giving an unrelated answer. Use of 5-second fillers to help you remember, such as, that is a good question. Let me think about it for a moment. Can be used. If you are interviewed by several people, make eye contact with each one as you respond to questions. Do not fix your eye gaze on just one person. Look at everybody as you answer. Because the tendency is to look at the person who had asked the question to you and ignore the others. You can restrain from that. Let's talk about some of the behavioral questions. Often employers ask questions that will determine how well you use your skills and abilities in real life situations. So you need to prepare in these lines. So this concept is called behavioral based interviewing, where the premise behind it is that past experiences predict future behavior. If you had already exhibited a lot of leadership abilities and you had a lot of proof to support your claim, they will predict that you will continue to exhibit those leadership skills in your future as well. So that's the logic. Think of your stories. Times when you were saved or made money for an employer, a crisis or two, and how you responded or recovered from it. If you're a student, you can think about your internship time period where you are working at the company, or some college event or a university event that you were participating or spearheading. A time when you were part of a team and what was your contribution. A time when you dealt with stress, extreme stress. A time when you provided successful leadership. The more proof that you have, the better would be the answer. Some failures you faced and how you overcame them, and events that caused you to change direction and how that worked. So you'll have to be prepared with all these stories so that you do not take time out to think about these things during the actual interview. So I'm presenting to you some of the questions and some sample questions and answers. Let me read this out to you. I see that you did an internship with Company X. Give me some examples of key accomplishments and lessons that you learned on the job. A typical sample answer would be, 1 year ago, I was offered an internship with X company based on my specialized training in graphic and web design page. My main responsibility was to create a new web page design that was more user-friendly than the one they were using prior to my hire. Currently, my web design is still in use and has supported the business by acting as a visible, effective marketing tool. Look how beautifully the justification goes. Why should I consider you a strong applicant for this position? So you need to articulate that which is there in your resume. Be self-assured but not arrogant. Relate your knowledge, skills, and abilities directly to the job. Show your passion and tell and sell your story to get that coveted job. The weakness question. Everyone has a weakness. A weakness is a deficient skill that you have or need to improve. A weakness is not a character flaw. Be honest and always use an example that is not just job related. Always describe the weakness in the past tense and discuss briefly how you have now improved it and overcome that. Avoid answers such as I am a perfectionist. We're not gods and goddesses. We're human beings with limitations and weaknesses. Some good and bad answers. I do such a good job that it makes everyone else envious of how great I am. Sounds slightly arrogant. I've never been in a position with enough influence to do any damage, so I'm not sure. They'll not buy this. My greatest weakness would have to be speaking in public. I don't think it's something that comes to me naturally. So I've taken courses X and Y to get some practice, as well as put myself in situations where I was forced to improve. Look how beautiful. These are honest answers that comes from your heart. So let these answers be honest. To conclude, look at Jack Ma. When KFC came to China, 24 people went for the job. 23 people were accepted. I was the only guy who did not get the job. Got rejected 30 times. They're all sorry now. So, even if you don't make it in the interview in spite of your best efforts, something else is in store for you, like Jack Ma had. Thank you, all of you. Gautam?